Habari Gani. Habari Gani o. Nia. Nia. Today's Kwanzaa principle is purpose. And the purpose is to make our collective vocation the building and the developing of our communities in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. And today's principle is represented by the Kanada. The Kanada is the candle holder. It is said that the Kanada is the center of the Kwanzaa setting, and it represents the original stalk from which we came. It represents our ancestry. And it can be found in many different shapes. So it varies, in sizes, but for the most part it is cut from wood. Many times we make it from clay, flour, and water. You can find some beautiful designs in iron. Keep in mind it is different from the menorah, as it only has space for 7 candles, the 3 green, 3 red, and the 1 black at the center. So the Kanara represents or symbolizes the ancestors who were once earthbound. They understand the problems of our human life and were willing to protect their progeny from danger, evil, and mistakes. In African festivals, the ancestors are remembered and honored. The Mashuba Saba are placed in the Kanara. The Mashuba Saba are the candles, are placed in the Kanara. So today I'm going to present to you 2 decks who I feel pay reverence to our ancestors, to the greatness of those who came before us. And what you are looking at right now is a print that I had received when I purchased a deck. This artist, she is known for her Afro-futurism collage work. Her name is Jessie Jumanji, and she created, let's see if I could do this deck, the Afro Tarot. And it is said that she pays homage to Africa and depicts a variety of cultures, places, symbols, and artifacts from all over the motherland. Jessie Jumanji stays true to her Afro-futuristic collage style, creating vivid, ethereal compositions with each card. The deck, of course, is 78 cards, and it combines authentic African imagery with the traditional Rider-Waite themes, making it a perfect experience for all levels. The Afro Tarot was created for people of the African diaspora seeking to incorporate an ancestral aspect into their spiritual journey. And of course, it comes in this beautiful box, beautiful 2-piece box. Get this out of the way. With the moon phases and the galaxy. Okay, so let's take a look at the card, shall we? It has here, let me see, it came with not a guidebook per se, but a guide leaflet. So it would help if you have some knowledge of the tarot. Exactly what it is. It's a mini guidebook that looks like that. Simple keywords. Fool, Magician, the High Priestess, which I think is one of my favorite cards. Or maybe the Empress is. Emperor. Let me put you on pause. Lovers. The Nine of Cups. I love the way she's tasting the sweetness there. Ten of Cups. My Queen of Cups. And my King of Cups. Fierce, regal leader. And we have Queen of Swords. Isn't she fabulous? King of Swords. Okay. Ace of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles. And King of Pentacles. So let's give this a quick shuffle and just put aside a card that we can take a look at the end of my presentation. I have another deck that I'd like to show you. Let's do this. Shadowy here. What is that? One. Give it a couple more shuffles. Did I show you the gilding? Look at that. In the back of the cards. Choose this one, and let's keep that out. So the next deck that I have to show you that's in order. I guess we'll find out. Is that one. And it's been out for a while, but you don't hear a lot about it. And what I found interesting was the information in the guidebook. Again, sometimes I know we like to disregard a guidebook, but sometimes a guidebook serves as such a reference point that they should not be overlooked. I'm going to read some things from here. Let me see if I can find. This deck was created by Agena Thies. I say Thies. Could be Thies. Agena Thies. And in the introduction, she starts out with, how does almost 800 years of presence and visibility in Europe's history happen to get swept under a rug? How does a major, incomparable contributor to the art and architecture in Europe have not had an influence on one of cartomancy's most prominent tools? Italy has been credited as being significant, if not the key place for the Renaissance era in Europe. Little precedence is given to the Arabic contributions to important philosophical and scientific areas of the European Renaissance, and it is regularly ignored that The well from which the European Renaissance sprang was in Toledo, Spain, while it was under Islamic rule. She says here, in your hands you hold a tarot that uses as its theme the culture and characters that shape Andalusia, or Andalusia, specifically the people which carry the deck's namesake, the Moors. You'll be taken through the landscapes of southern Europe, North Africa, and Arabia. You'll become familiar with a land where Muslims, Jews, and Christians lived in tolerance and flourished culturally and economically. In telling the story of the Moors in Tarot, it is challenging in giving and depicting the influence of all three Abrahamic religions, keeping with the theme of the culture of tolerance in medieval Spain. In short, this deck contains characters, titles, and ranks colored by the dominant culture during the eras for which the setting of the Tarot of the Moors. The deck is not intended to insult nor disrespect any faith. What I hope can be found in this tool for those who use it is something that transcends barriers of race and religion and encompasses universal and spiritual truths, no matter the seeker's path. This project came into being sparked by curiosity about and a desire to know three things: the mention of tarot cards being brought into southern Europe, most likely through Sicily, by the Saracens as recorded by a 13th century document, a desire to know about the Saracens and Islamic civilizations before, during, and after this introduction of cards into Europe, and the possibility of an integral connection to the mysterious origins of the tarot deck. It was also of interest to give a nod to the contributions of a people that ignited the flame of the Renaissance, as history tends to ignore or hide the roots of contributions to art, science, architecture, astronomy, medicine, mathematics, engineering, cartography, and other fields left behind by the golden age of the Moors. The term Saracens, used to describe the descendants of the children of biblical Sarah, Abraham's wife, has been an open debate in its use to relate to Mohammedans or Muslims geographically located in North Africa, Palestine, and Syria. As I looked further into the Saracens and wondered about their culture, art, and the possible contribution to the standard playing cards and tarot decks we have inherited, I was also deeply interested in why much of the medieval and Renaissance history overlooked the contributions to art and the scientific advancements of the Dar al-Islam, the Muslim world. I constantly came across references to two very important groups that were breadcrumbs of possibility of a sort that piqued my interest in relation to medieval and Renaissance Europe: the Mamluks and the Moors. There are a few speckled mentions of the Mamluks in connection to the history of playing cards, and they are found throughout the few tarot books in relation to historical tarot. However, as the cards that are attributed to the Mamluks contain only pips, which are the minor arcana, they are considered only playing cards, and thus the trails to the origins of tarot become cold. This richly evocative companion book to the Tarot of the Moors set relays of past when the foundations of the classics were reestablished and laced with Occidental and Islamic flavors. My intention at the onset of this whole endeavor was to mostly focus on the influence of the Moors in the Iberian Peninsula, Spain, North Africa, Morocco, and parts of southern Europe. I honestly did not know where the journey would take me in my research and study. The era of the Moors was so vast, with so many twists, turns, and jumps. With the call for diversity in tarot art increasing, I felt that given my talent as an artist, my modest scholarly interest in tarot divination, and being a person of color, there emerged an urgency to look where others may not want or care to look. Tarot has become a global tool for insight and divination, but it is interesting that it was not so for North America until the past few hundred years, as most Europeans immigrated to the land of the free. Readers will be immersed in the rise and fall of the golden age of Moorish Spain and Portugal, a history which Spanish rulers have all but expunged from the pages of world history, and among it, we speculate important connections to the missing link in Tarot history as well. What readers will get through the book and deck is a river of flowing tales and connecting tributaries that will enrich, enlighten, and inspire. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the cards. Okay. So, this is the Fool, renamed the Jongleur, the Charmer for the Magician, the Sibyl for the High Priest, the Sultana for the Empress, the Sultan, of course, for the Emperor, the Teacher for the Hierophant. The Lovers stays the same. The Chariot. I love the two lions on it as opposed to the two horses. And Strength, of course. We have the Desert Hermit. The Water Wheel. Justice Kadi. Let's see if she has an explanation. Strength, Water Wheel. Yes, Justice. She gives me here the esoteric title, the astrological symbol, the element, Hebrew letter, but not much more than that. And of course the tarot information. So I may have to do some research on my own. The Ascetic. Alchemy. The Jinn. The Fall of Grenada. The Star. The Moon. I wonder how many people who actually own this deck will do any sort of research into the history behind the names. The Sun. Ooh. Did I say Sun? I did. Moon. Yes, I'm sorry. Sun. Judgment. The World. The backs of the cards look like that. Wands. So the Emir is someone of high rank. That's what that means. And then you have Malika, which is queen, and I do love that Queen of Wands. I do. And then you have Malik for the King of Wands. Cups. She's fabulous as well, is she not? Okay, and let's see now. We do a shuffle, focusing on today's principle, which is Nia, purpose. And let's keep in mind, as we shuffle our cards, if you're shuffling along with me, let's see, what can we do, I suppose, with intention to help us reclaim our vision of greatness? What advice, what energy, what is there for us to tap into to reclaim our vision of greatness? You know, what can we do to honor time tested, well, time tested traditions? Let's see. This is a red feather production. Again, you have this gorgeous gilding. Cardstock is pretty good. Oh, hold up. See now. Put that on the side. Okay. And now we shall pull a card from our angel deck here. And then we'll take a look at these two tarot cards, yes? So, message from our angels, messages from my ancestors. What advice can you give me or give us to help us get back in alignment with our purpose? Get back into a place of grace and stability so that we can achieve the greatness that we are destined for. Queen. Okay. Let's see what the Queen has to say. You are receiving and honoring all spirits. The Queen represents one who protects. Your protection is given by honoring all human life. In this honoring, you too are honored. To the Queen, everyone has the right to well-being. By believing that all human life should be valued, you make it your life's mission to encourage people to honor their own and other spirits. On the waking path, you are able to receive everyone as you can see beyond the physical presence and into the heart and spirit of many. With Queen qualities, you tend towards philosophy and grapple with ways of sustaining life. You are seen as esoteric or private. You are often known for providing motivation by encouraging people to live life to its fullest. You display an air of deserving all the attention you receive. Once again, why do I feel this is a very personal message? I take it. So I asked, what can we do collectively to get back in alignment or maintain our alignment so that we can all refocus on our purpose towards greatness? And so, being the Queen, honoring each other, protecting each other, encouraging each other is important. Supporting, taking care of one another is something that's vitally important. Valuing one another. So, as you would treat yourself is how you would want to treat your fellow human being. So let's see the tarot cards that we have pulled that will support that. Oh, the Seven of Cups. And the Tower. Seven of Cups. We like to say that sometimes we're delusional in the Seven of Cups. Sometimes we have a lot of choices. We have a lot of things going on. It could also speak to, especially for me emotionally, that there's always so much to do and I want to do everything, but there's only a limited amount of time. I can only drink from one cup at a time. Perhaps it's prioritizing, and it's not choosing one thing over the other. It's just getting things in order so I can be more cognizant. And then the Tower card being my hidden factor card. Surprising. My birth card is the Chariot. My hidden factor card is the Tower. And the Tower is about making those changes, abrupt, drastic changes, that wake-up call, providing illumination, dealing with the status quo, wanting to tear it down and not being afraid to do that. Perhaps getting outside of our emotions, perhaps needing validation from every Tom, Dick, Harry, Betty, Susie, and Jennifer. Go within yourself. Find one cup that resonates with you and get your sustenance from there. And then know that what you do will make a change, will affect a change. And I think that's what we need to do. We cannot be afraid to be in a place where we're going to shake things up, ruffle some feathers. I mean, we're not here to be stagnant. We're moving into a new decade. We're here to make it happen. So, Habari Gani, Nia, purpose. Stay blessed until my next video.